Mr. Speaker, I rise today in strong opposition to H.R. 1, and I urge my colleagues to vote against this dangerous and irresponsible bill. With extreme weather events becoming more and more frequent and climate change impacting our communities, agriculture, homes, and even our national security, we need to work together to advance climate rescue measures that move the U.S. away from fossil fuel dependence, protect workers and communities, and strengthen environmental protections, all while reducing costs to the American people. This can't happen overnight, but instead of building upon the historic deficit-reducing provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act, Republicans are trying to roll back that historic bill, and in the process are putting polluters over people and the planet. H.R. 1 restricts community input by gutting NEPA. It forces the sell-off of public lands and undermines the health of all Americans by compromising air and water quality, all while adding billions to our national debt. Of particular interest in my district is that this bill would block the EPA from requiring refineries to study alternatives to the use of hydrofluoric acid, or HF, in fossil fuel processing. HF has the potential to form a poisonous, killing aerosol cloud which can travel for miles if it's released. There have been dozens of accidents involving HF in recent years, including a devastating 2019 explosion and fire at a refinery in my district. That explosion put U.S. steelworkers and tens of thousands of nearby residents at serious risk of death and serious harm. An inspection found that the refinery lacked adequate inspection and safety protocols to prevent a catastrophe. Essentially, it was a miracle that no one died that night. To safeguard against future accidents, I offered a common-sense amendment to this bill that would require refineries with a history of accidents or Clean Air Act violations to study alternatives to HF, but my Republican colleagues refused to allow the amendment. This refusal to consider past disasters to create necessary safety standards tells us exactly what this bill is about: empowering the fossil fuel industry at the expense of worker and community safety. Again, I urge my colleagues to vote against this reckless bill, and with that, I yield back.
Our U.S. government has confirmed that millions of Americans will begin to lose health insurance starting today. But many are not aware of this drastic change. Experts are urging all seniors and retirees to keep an eye on their benefits. My dearest friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also, next Friday, I will be announcing more winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. My friends, the more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Starting today, millions of Americans will begin to lose their health insurance as 5 states begin the unwinding of a crisis-era protection that kept people from being removed from the Medicaid rosters. The government estimates that 15 million people, or roughly 1 in 6, of the 84 million Americans on Medicaid will be kicked off the program. During the crisis, the government suspended procedures that would remove people from Medicaid. Before the crisis, individuals would regularly lose their Medicaid coverage if they started making too much money to qualify for the program, or if they moved out of state or gained health care coverage through their employer. That stopped once the crisis hit, causing Medicaid enrollment to grow by 5 million people between 2020 and 2022. The Consolidated Appropriations Act, signed last December, as the crisis continued to ebb, instructed U.S. states to restart eligibility checks of every person currently on Medicaid. So to stay on the rolls, individuals will have to fill out forms to verify their personal information, including their address, income, and household size. People in danger of losing Medicaid coverage may have relocated or received an income boost that will make them ineligible. This big issue has millions of Americans very concerned. Some states have already started the disenrollment process. The Associated Press reported that no longer eligible Medicaid members could be removed as soon as April in these 9 states: Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Idaho, Iowa, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. Not all ineligible individuals will be dropped from the program at once, as states have set different timelines for rechecking eligibility of Medicaid patients. Most states are expected to take between 9 months and a full year to complete the verification process. Despite the dire stakes, losing Medicaid is a common problem that used to happen annually before the crisis. Government officials have announced that the average person on Medicaid received about 10 months of coverage a year. This often occurs when bureaucratic hurdles push people out of the system for reasons as simple as missing a letter in the mail or moving. According to new estimates, roughly 65% of people who do get disenrolled end up uninsured for a portion of the following year. The Department of Health and Human Services says this time around, after 3 years without churn in the system, about 7 million Americans who still qualify for Medicaid will lose their benefits. Another 8 million will lose coverage because they no longer qualify and need outreach to understand where they can re-enroll in other programs, low-cost government health programs through the Affordable Care Act. Healthcare advocates are urging people on Medicaid to update their contact information, including their home address, phone number, and email. Tensions boiled over this week between the White House and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, with both refusing to blink amid an impasse on the budget and debt ceiling. Kevin McCarthy pressed President Biden to start more robust negotiations over raising the nation's borrowing limit ahead of the Congressional Budget Act's April 15th deadline, marking the first major step in weeks on the issue. President Biden suggested there is little point in a sit-down until House Republicans introduced a formal budget. Kevin McCarthy argued Biden was responsible for the delay in the release of Congress's proposal. And so far, McCarthy has not detailed a timeline for when the budget will be released. And Texas Representative Jody Arrington, the chairman of the House Budget Committee, told the Wall Street Journal that it could be months before the party produces a budget. House Republicans are demanding significant spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt ceiling to avoid an unprecedented and economically catastrophic default. In his letter this week to President Biden, Speaker McCarthy outlined several areas where the federal spending could be reduced, lowering excessive non-defense spending to pre-inflation levels, reclaiming unspent crisis funds, and strengthening work requirements for social programs. Well, my dearest and most amazing friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Sunday. Thank you, dear friends, for being part of this community and for being here every single day. I will be announcing 2 more winners next Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. Friends, the more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed weekend.